y'all? This is Jillian from Maxie Makes Magic, and I hope you're ready to get spooky this week because it is officially the start of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, or party season, I guess you could say, in the Magic Kingdom. So you know we have to start making some Halloween treats. We're going to specifically head over to Sleepy Hollow Refreshments because we're going to make the Madame Leota Séance Candle, and I am ecstatic that this treat is available this year. It's exclusive to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, but you know what? As always, we're gonna make it here at home. This treat is based on Madame Leota from the Haunted Mansion. The Haunted Mansion is one of those rides that I was really afraid of as a kid, but grew into loving it as an adult. I love all things spooky, but not scary. And the Haunted Mansion really strikes that balance between spooky and fun and quirky. So I'm looking forward to making a treat inspired by one of the most infamous characters of the ride. This is our reference picture from today, and as you can tell, it's a push pop treat. It kind of reminds me of those push pop ice cream treats you used to get on the ice cream truck as a kid, but this is filled with cake and cookies and cream mousse. To make it a little bit more accessible here at home, we're gonna do a red velvet cake. It is gonna be a box cake today. Again, trying to make this as simple for you as possible to recreate at home. We're also gonna switch out the cookies and cream mousse for a cream cheese, cookies and cream buttercream. Switching things up just a tiny bit. And then that melted top you see within our reference picture is gonna be using candy melt. So a very fun treat. I think this is one that is gonna be a little bit different than something I normally would make on the channel. I usually try to make things from scratch, but knowing how many elements go into a recipe like this, I want to make this as user-friendly, affordable as possible. And the push pops, actually, I got on Amazon, so I will link in the description the push pops that I went ahead and ordered. But let's go ahead and dive into the recipe. We can do an ingredient roundup, and then we'll go ahead and dive into it. So let's get started. Kicking off our ingredient roundup today, I've got a half box of red velvet cake mix from the store, a half a cup of vegetable oil, a quarter cup of water, and 1.5 eggs. For our cookies and cream cheese buttercream, we're going to need to start with 3 cups of powdered sugar sifted, 8 ounces of cream cheese that's been softened to room temperature and cubed, half a cup or 1 stick of unsalted butter that's been softened to room temperature and cubed, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and of course, everyone's favorite, about 8 to 10 chocolate sandwich cookies. I got double stuffed. And how could I forget a healthy pinch of kosher salt? To bring our seance candles to life, I got these adorable push pop holders on Amazon. I've added the link in the description as to where you can find these. To get that candle dripping effect, we're also going to need a 12-ounce bag of candy melts in white. You could also use almond bark if you choose. I got this at my local craft store, and I also went ahead and grabbed some orange Wilton food coloring gel. Kicking things off, we're going to go ahead and prepare our box cake mix to the box's instructions. We'll combine our dry cake mix with our water, oil, as well as our egg, and mix together until almost combined. For this recipe, you can use any store-bought cake mix. I use Duncan Hines, or if you'd like to, you can definitely use a homemade red velvet cake recipe. I only ordered 6 push pop containers, so I did decide to cut my recipe in half, but you're more than welcome to make as many candles as you need. Once the batter is almost combined, you can grease a 9x13 baking dish and add your batter in, making it as even as possible. Once you have that batter smoothed out, we're going to pop it in the oven based on the box's instructions. Mine is 350 for 20 minutes. Moving over to our cream cheese buttercream, we're going to beat our cream cheese and butter on medium to high speed for about 5 to 7 minutes. This is how we incorporate air into our buttercream to make it light and fluffy. After 5 to 7 minutes, you're going to stop your mixer and, as I always say, scrape down the sides. This is super important just to make sure there's no missing clumps of butter or cream cheese that are not getting beat together during the mixing process. Now that we've scraped down the sides of our bowl, we can bring the mixer back up to a low speed and add spoonfuls of our powdered sugar a little bit at a time. As you continue to add the powdered sugar into the butter and cream cheese, stop the mixer, scrape down the sides, and continue that process until all of your powdered sugar is incorporated. With our powdered sugar fully incorporated, we can add our vanilla extract and our pinch of salt. You can continue to beat the mixture for another minute or so, and it's going to come out to be this beautiful, fluffy buttercream that is ready for the chocolate sandwich cookies. For our chocolate sandwich cookies, I'm going to pop them into a sandwich bag and just use the back of a rolling pin to mash them up. I want to get a fine powder. One of the mistakes that I made is not mashing them up finely enough and having some chunks in my mixture that made it a little bit difficult to pipe later on. So I would go for a little bit of a finer overall texture, and then you're going to hand mix these in to the buttercream just to avoid an overall murky gray color. We want this to be combined, but not over combined. In order to create the little flame on the top of our seance candles, I separated out a little bit of the buttercream prior to adding the chocolate sandwich cookies, included some orange Wilton food dye so we get that bright orange flame effect. Now it's time to decorate our push pop holders. Utilizing the famous wallpaper from the Haunted Mansion, I just used my printer to print off the pattern online. It's important when you print the pattern off that you have it in the right orientation so it looks like the Haunted Mansion wallpaper and it fits perfectly around your push pop holder. To cut the wallpaper design to size, I wrapped it around each individual push pop holder and just cut a small trim line notifying me as to where I need to cut each individual piece. I followed the same method to ensure the wallpaper was the same height as the push pop holder. And once it's all set, it's time to secure. To secure the wallpaper design, you tape down one side, wrap the remainder of the design around the push pop holder, and tape down once more, and you have this adorable Haunted Mansion seance candle push pop ready to go. To cut our cakes to fit into our push pop holders, you're going to use one of the push pop holders to cut little discs all throughout your single layer of cake. It's crucial to make sure your cake is completely chilled at this point so you don't have too much cake coming up into the push pop holder as you release. You'll want to ensure you have 2 pieces of cake per push pop holder. We can now prep our cookies and cream cheese buttercream by filling a piping bag. I might have overfilled my piping bag just a little bit, so make sure you don't overfill it. It's better to under than overfill, or else you're gonna have frosting coming all out of the top of your piping bag, which is not ideal and makes for a very big mess. So add all of your frosting that you need into your piping bag, and then you're just lightly going to burp the bag a little bit by forcefully lifting up and down. That's going to push the frosting down into the bag. And if you're still noticing it's not going down far enough, you can lightly cut the tip off of the bag and push some of the frosting down. That should help release some of the additional frosting that's grouped itself up at the top of the bag. To fill our push pop holders, you're going to first start by adding a layer of cake at the bottom of the push pop, having a towel handy just in case you need to wipe any crumbs off your fingers or around the sides. Then you're going to add a plentiful amount of frosting on top of the cake. If you have issues like me of having too big of cookie crumbles in your buttercream, just cut the tip a little bit bigger, and that should help ease the frosting from coming out of the piping bag. Following up with our second disc of cake, we'll pop that right on the top, and again, just have a towel ready to clean off any crumbs from your fingers. You'll follow up with a final dollop of frosting on the top of your last layer of cake. I decided to do a little bit of an experiment and layer each push pop in a different way. Some of them have 2 layers of cake and 2 layers of buttercream, while others only have 1 layer of buttercream and 2 layers of cake. Here is just a little example so you guys can see what they look like without the final wallpaper wrapping. Another thing too is if you don't use a piping bag to pipe your frosting, it will look a little bit messy in the push pop holder, but again, we are wrapping these with the Haunted Mansion wallpaper design, so not too big of a deal if you don't have piping bags ready to go. Now we can melt down our candy melt and our warmer because we need to get them ready to go to have our imitation candle wax ready for our push pop holders. I let the candy melt slightly chill before adding a generous dollop of candy coating on top of each individual push pop holder. Because we're doing a little bit of an experiment, I want to see how the final look looks like once we put it on top of frosting versus we've just put it on top of our push pops that only had a top layer of cake. Once you add your generous dollop of your candy coating, you can use a spoon to help it move down the sides or give the push pop holder a gentle shake. This is going to encourage that candy melt to fall down the sides of the push pop holder, very reminiscent of that of a dripping wax candle. After trying both methods, I don't think you can go wrong whether you decide to want a little bit of extra frosting on the top of your push pops, or if you just want to have that top cake layer. The real only difference is that the ones that have the frosting on the top are not going to be as smooth or flat of a top, while the ones that have the cake topper are going to have a more flat surface for that candy melt to adhere to. In order to keep my push pop holders standing, you can tell that I just used a wire rack with a reusable silicone mat underneath just to catch any of the drips. You could also use a styrofoam block to put your push pop holders into to keep them sturdy. The only thing that didn't work for me was trying to utilize a cake pop holder. The holes, unfortunately, are just too small to fit the push pop sticks, so we had to use this and improvise, as you can see here, a couple of teeters from time to time, but they're candles. They're supposed to look like candles that are melting, so if they do fall over, not too big of a deal. We're gonna finish off by adding our flame on top with a little dollop of our orange buttercream. Again, these do not have to be perfect. They are totally up to your interpretation. I just used a star tip in order to pipe my frosting on top of each seance candle. Once they are complete, they look so cute, you guys. I am so obsessed with these. Now we have to move over to the official taste test. I think this is something that really anybody could give a stab at home. Stab. I kind of sound like the bride. I think this recipe turned out really cute. It was pretty user-friendly overall. I think you could try this with family and friends and it would be super easy, really fun. You're bringing the parks home to you, especially Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, which is really a hard one to get into. It is a ticketed event. So being able to just make these at home, I think is such a blast and a great way, again, to just bring the parks and the memories home to your kitchen with your family and friends. It's time. It's one of my favorite things to do when it comes to filming my videos. It actually is my favorite thing to do. It is giving these bad boys a taste test. Now, I don't really know how to go about this one because of the candy coating on top. The candy melts. I don't know if you should like push pop through it, if it's actually gonna burst through the top or not. We're gonna give it a go and see, but seriously, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little excited. We just need to, I think, dive right into it. I grabbed a spoon just in case I need it, which I probably will, but let's see how this goes. I feel like everything is compressing on the inside. Oh, I feel like it's gonna explode. Okay. Oh! Look at how cute! The layers actually stayed pretty well intact. I am surprised and kind of impressed. It's kind of like a Jack-in-the-Box. This is seriously so fun and I'm really impressed with how the layers stayed intact. See how this goes. I'm actually gonna go around the topper because I know how candy coating tastes. It's really good. I think for a box cake mix, this turned out pretty great. I think the cookies and cream buttercream is definitely what steals the show here. This is so cute. I really think kids would love this one, especially popping the top up. Oh man, this is so fun. Woo! I'm dropping red velvet everywhere. Adorable, but the cookies and cream buttercream really sells it. I don't know how you would eat this in the parks though. I feel like it'd be such a melty mess. You probably would have to ask for a cup. Maybe just like push the contents out and dump it into the cup. I don't know. This is one of those treats that I think is super fun to make, but I'm not sure how practical it is. As cute as it is, I don't know how practical this would be, especially with little ones. But I think, again, pushing the push pop up is kind of the fun surprise. It's very reminiscent of childhood for me and getting those push pops off the ice cream truck. And I think that little candy coated topping, or that little candy coating on the top, and having to kind of burst through that layer is a really fun little treat for kids. So I would highly recommend making this. It was really easy and fun. And again, if you can't go to the parks for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, or if you missed this treat, if you did go to the party, now you can make it at home. If you like videos just like this, go check out my Disney Parks food series playlist over on my channel. I have all different recipes dedicated to the different eats and treats you can find throughout all the Disney parks across the US and worldwide. It's always growing. I love to also get more ideas from you guys and what you want to see on the channel. So make sure you drop some ideas down in the comments. I read every single one, and let me know which recipe I should try next. As always, like, subscribe, follow along. That is what helps this channel continue to grow and reach more Disney adults just like you and I, because if you're here, I'm assuming you must have some sort of a passion for Disney, and maybe you consider yourself a Disney adult like me. As always, this is Jillian from Maxine Makes Magic, and I hope you have a magical day. Bye, guys.